Welcome, everyone, to It's Time to Excel, where we inspire and we ignite the possibilities that are all around us. And I'm so honored here to have Dr. Barnsley Brown with us today. We're going to have some fun. We're going to see what all we can do because when we get together, we have fun. That's just part of the deal. But we are really going to really focus in on money drains. We have been spending the month of February starting to talk about money and what kind of gets us in some trouble every once in a while. And you have a great opportunity to kind of share with us some of those specific money drains. And there's certain ones that a lot of entrepreneurs, I think, as we're working with our clients, we have found that they fall into more often than not. So this is what we want to share today. So I'm just so thankful that you have decided to join me and take a little time out of your busy schedule and come educate our group here as we're talking, because our ultimate goal is we definitely want to inspire and ignite those possibilities, and there's all kinds of them. So I'll just let you go ahead and share a little bit about who you are.
Oh, thanks, Janet. And it's so great. I love it. Let's have fun with finances.
Perfect.
Hello. And thank you so much for inviting me on. So I'm Dr. Barnsley Brown, and I'm a Chapel Hill, North Carolina-based business. I've been in business for over 21 years. And I will tell you all that when I went into business 21 years ago on September 11th, the year
Oh, wow.
2000, yes,
I didn't
1
realize
year
that.
before the Twin Towers went down.
I knew it was in that year, but I didn't know it was September 11th. Wow.
Yeah, but 1 year before. When I went into business, I really tried to go it alone. I really tried to go it alone. And I did do a lot of courses at the small business centers. I took a lot of courses and so forth. But I, for a while, did not really have the team that I needed. And part of the team that you absolutely need is a kick-ass business coach. Voila. And you also need someone like Janet who's going to help you set up everything in your contact management systems and in your financial systems with Quicken, QuickBooks, all of those, so that you can give everything to your tax accountant team member, right?
Timely without headaches. Novel concept.
Exactly, with ease. How about with ease and grace? And so I
Simplicity.
really tried to do a lot of things the hard way. And I say to my clients now, I run a mastermind in which women who are spiritual service oriented entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, double, triple, or more their positive impact and income in the world, Janet, really fast, like in the first 3 months of this 12-month coaching program. What I say to my clients all the time is, I wish I'd had someone like me early on. Right. So I would, but the truth is that all the things I went through, all the things I learned along the way, I have now packaged into this program for people to save them like you do, save them time, save them money, save them having their hair fall out.
Or ripped out, depending on the day.
Yeah, or ripped out. Yes, exactly. So, that really is the inspiration for my business, is that not wanting women entrepreneurs like me to go through the hard learning curve I went through for that first decade of business, and to really be able to become six-figure or multiple six-figure businesses, or seven-figure, shoot, why not, quickly and in a strategic way. So, today we're going to talk about these money mistakes that you don't want to make. And the first one that I really want to bring up is that a lot of small business owners, and I'm sure you see this, Janet, they don't carefully track everything that comes in and everything that goes out.
And they always need to, I was always pushing, get separate business and checking accounts for business and personal. That is one of my biggest things to remind folks. And they've heard me say it more than once, but it's important because of exactly what you just said. You got to track it. So let's make it easy, not easy. Let's make it simple to track. I will not use easy.
And truthfully, if somebody is a solopreneur, if they're a sole proprietor, truthfully, they could open 2 personal accounts, but just use one of them only for business.
Exactly.
So what you're talking about is really separation of the funds, so it's very clear. But I'm actually talking about something else too, Janet, and that is that I have a system in my calendar, and I actually still use a written calendar as well as some e-calendars, but my written calendar is like my Bible of everything, really. And it really usually does not leave my house, or if it does, it stays in my car, because if I lost it, I would not know what
We'll
to do with
panic. We'd have to
myself.
come pick you up.
Yes, I would have what we say in the South, I would have a conniption fit right there. Yeah, seriously. So here's the thing is that right there, I track everything that comes in.
Mhm.
And what I tell my clients, my coaching clients, is not only should you track your expected income that comes in, but also track your unexpected income,
Mhm.
because you may be getting things coming back. I just had a bonus from a, a, um, a healthcare thing, and I had another bonus from one of my accounts. It totaled over $500. I definitely added that in there too, so that you know exactly how much is coming in. And the other thing you've got to do is add up all your expenses that are your regular expenses every single month, right?
Mhm.
And if you don't know the monthlies, just take the average. Like if utilities are part of what you have in your business expenses, find out what the utilities were for the year and divide it by 12,
That's right.
right?
Mhm.
And so you're going to take the average of the monthly average of all your ongoing expenses. You're going to add it up, and you'll see, oh my gosh, it's way more than I thought it was. First thing, way more than I thought it was. And then you're going to add a cushion onto that. So you don't think in your mind, oh, I have $3,800 of expenses. I'm just making up that number per
Mhm.
month. You don't think that in your mind. You think I have $3,800 of expenses, and I have 1,000 cushion for those emergency things. I'll add 1,200, so I have $5,000 of expenses ongoing. All right. You set that number in your head, and you have that good, healthy cushion there, because that's where people get in trouble is the truck breaks down, the business car breaks down, or the computer crashes,
Mhm.
or you need a new piece of furniture because your dog ate the furniture.
You don't have any dogs that do that either, do you?
Yeah. Well, mine have gone through two pieces in the last couple of months, two
Oh,
pieces of
good.
furniture.
Mine ain't
But
my own.
maybe you have a waiting room for your clients and your
Right.
dogs continue to eat things out of it. You need to have a cushion for that.
You do.
Maybe some of what you're paying for goes up in price. Inflation is on the rise,
Mhm.
obviously. So you've got to have a healthy cushion. But the point is, don't just take your actual expenses, put that nice, healthy cushion on top of it, of at least 25% of your expenses, at least. And that's what you have in your head as your expenses per month. All right. Now, what this does is it lets you see very clearly when you're breaking even every single month, or
Mhm.
when you're not.
I was gonna say on the flip side when you're not.
Yeah. But what I love about it is that actually focusing on what's coming in, it
Mhm.
makes you aware of what you're doing and what you're not doing. And if you track what you're doing, and in my mastermind, we actually have a particular way we do it. We post it on a private Facebook page. There is such incredible accountability that happens that way. And
Mhm.
it ensures that people actually reach their financial goals.
It's
So number
important.
one, what we don't track can't grow.
That's right.
So you've got to track. And I'm sure you would say, right, Janet, that those receipts and everything that they're bringing in, which takes us to the next one, taking all your
Mhm.
legitimate business write-offs,
Deductions.
keeping track of those is so important. So what do you recommend to people that they do to keep track of all their expenses in terms of those receipts, et cetera? What
So
do
one of
you
the things that it depends on which level they're at. If it's pen and paper, everybody always hears me say, I've always had the same answer. What's the best system for you? Well,
Yes.
one, you need a system. So that's step one. Now, what's the best one? It's real simple. It's the one you're going to use. So if you like pen
Yes.
and paper, I'm not going to argue too much. It's not going to be my thing, but it's okay. But pen and paper, then write it down, just like you were saying. Everything's written down in there. At least it's
Yep.
down. Now, taking it one step further, you can go into an actual spreadsheet, which a lot of times takes the math out of it. And then, so you drop it in your spreadsheet and then you file it in one of those little expandable folders.
Mhm.
Ideally, I'm going to say, hey, let's talk about QuickBooks because they have a cool little thing called Snap Receipt, which makes
Mhm.
your life so easy. It's part of the app, it's part of the subscription you're already paying for. So you
Mhm.
snap it when you get to the car. You don't even get out of the driveway. You snap the
Exactly.
little bugger right then and there. When you get home, you drop it in January, February,
Right.
March. Guess what? You don't ever really have to look at it again. However, it's right there if you need it. And you got your JPEG right in the system. So
I
one
love
more
it.
feature. That's what I do.
I love that. And I just want to clarify something about the system I shared with you all, that I'm tracking things just as they come in. That's only the beginning, right?
Right.
That's just so every single day of the month, I know exactly where I am in my business. I know how many people I've helped, and it's really clear. But actually, I understand the IRS really likes to have paper receipts. I have still heard that from some people.
Yeah. They're
Um,
there if you need 'em.
yeah, so you might, even though you're uploading them, you may want to keep the paper for maybe 8 or 10 years too. You just need to talk to your tax advisor and see what they say. But let's say you don't want to use Quicken and you do want to do it a different way with a spreadsheet, you can just have envelopes. But you
Mhm.
need to know your expense categories. And that brings us to the second thing, is know what your business expense categories are, and know what are the legitimate business expenses you take.
Right.
So, for example, everyone in business for themselves gets to take 100% of their health insurance. Oh my gosh. It used to be 50% when I started in business. Now it's 100%. It's been 100% for a while. Thank God, because that's a huge expense. So obviously you need health insurance. You also
Mhm.
need a category for professional development. And that's one that I write in. I have my tax guy write it in on my Schedule C. You need your equipment, your business equipment. You need your supplies,
Software.
your office supplies, and your mailing, whatever you do with mailing. You need advertising, which can include your website, your groups that you're part of. You need professional memberships. There are a variety of different tax
Mhm.
categories that you need, and you should keep those consistent. Let me just say that. Keep them consistent every year,
Mhm.
because it makes your tax person's life so much easier, but it makes your life
I was
easier.
gonna say, but more importantly, it's your life.
Exactly. So you have your expandable file, and you know exactly what the categories are, and you just put them on there. You can use the same expandable file every year if you want. Or you have envelopes. You do the kind of Dave Ramsey thing, and you have envelopes that say what it's for,
Mhm.
and you stick them in there. But something that you say, Janet, is so important, because you want to do this. You want to keep your mileage log. You want to get those receipts in the same day. Like, don't get out of your car
No.
until you've done that. You've either written down your mileage log, and that's what the IRS asks. Do you have a written record? Or you put it
Mhm.
in an app, right before you get out of your car. Because if you wait, you're
You're
going to
not
forget
gonna do
things,
it.
and you're going to be losing money,
Yep.
money, and that hurts, right? I cannot tell you, Janet, how many people I have coached who I have found so much money for because they were not taking their legitimate tax
Deductions.
deductions.
Sure.
And you all, the worst thing that can happen, all right, they should be legitimate, but the worst thing that can happen is the IRS would question them. And then you would just say, well, yes, I spend $7 per month getting into XYZ networking group. Or
Mhm.
yes, I entertained so and so on such and such date. So half of that is a tax write off. You're just going to have to justify it. And so that's why it's so important to have the paper trail and or the trail in your software.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer, kind of both. It's that audit brain. Too many years in corporate accounting. I still like my paper backup copy. I may not ever
Yes,
look at it again, but it's there.
exactly. And there's, I think I have 10 years saved of my business.
My
And then
standards.
the rest, you obviously want to shred it,
Mhm.
have it shredded with a crosscut shredder so somebody doesn't steal your identity. Okay, don't be dumb and put it in your garbage can.
Yeah. Here you go. Hand it
I
over.
mean, I've seen people do some
And I've
dumb
seen people do it too.
stuff,
It's terrifying.
dumb stuff. Like, nothing that has any part of my account number or any part of my social ever goes into my trash
Nope.
can. It's always in the crosscut shredder.
The
Crosscut.
burn. We we
This
we we
one.
kind of run. Yeah. You
Yeah.
get
There are
it is
even people will put
destroyed.
the strips together. They'll take the strips. I mean, criminal minds are gonna find a way. They'll take the strips and
That's true. I mean, but we can at least make it hard for them.
yes, exactly. Yeah, it's also good if you just kind of spit on them too. Anyway, but tax write-offs are huge. And I
Mhm.
told a story so many times of a client of mine who's he's a massage therapist,
Mhm.
has two girls, and they needed to go to college, right? They both
Mhm.
went to very expensive schools, but they had to get scholarships. Well, I wonder why. One of the reasons is, for years I counseled him and coached him. Here's what you need to be doing. Here are your
Okay.
tax categories. Here's how you need to organize. Let's find the system. that you, like you say, Janet, that you'll use that works for you. And that's different for every person, but you need a system. And he said, yeah. And he didn't do anything. And he didn't do anything, right?
Of course not.
No. Then he went on a massage credit, continuing education cruise, where you go on a cruise and you get continuing education credits for your license. And he came back and sat down in my office, Janet, and he said, Barnsley, you won't imagine what I learned on the cruise. And I said, what? I'll just call him M. What, M? And he said, I learned about tax deductions. And that was a moment when I really wanted to strangle a client, you know, to say, I've been talking to you about this forever. But the sad thing is his family suffered some because of that, right? Because if you're not taking all your tax deductions, I mean, you're basically throwing out the window the major reason why, for example, Robert Kiyosaki says everybody in the United States should have their own business. Even if you're employed, gainfully employed somewhere else, have a side business, a side hustle, you know, because you get those business tax write-offs. And I guarantee if I sat down with your folks, Janet, if they hired me to coach them, they would make so much more back than they ever invested in that little session. And I know the same is true for the work you do with people, because I've been referring my clients to you.
Yeah, we've been working together, and it's just, there's different strengths, and that's part of it.
Exactly.
You know, Tim put a point there, you know, another thing for shredding, he has a valid point. Ours is named Winston. I'm not sure about yours, but puppies make really great shredders, at least mine. Every time I turn around, they're everywhere.
Yes, they do. The only problem is when you have to kind of pull part of your receipt out of their rear end. This is not fun when it gets stuck in there. Sorry, I've had some experience with that. That's maybe a too graphic image, but I know people are paying attention because they're like,
I was going to say, we're going to see if anybody's paying attention to those comments.
We'll see. Y'all need to be
absolutely
putting some stuff up in the chat there. So, you know, I just want to say that both of the clients that I sent recently to Janet, both of those clients were having serious issues because their QuickBooks and Quicken, I think it was QuickBooks, had been set up incorrectly, and somebody had done a shoddy job. And so they had no idea what their numbers were. And you cannot be in business and be successful without knowing your numbers.
Absolutely.
Right? You just can't. So Janet got the cleanup job there. You know, she was the pooper scooper, so to speak, to set it up right. And
going forward.
It would just have been better for them to have Janet from the get-go, right?
And taking advantage of what you're offering. Make sure we're getting all the deductions. Are we getting them tracked? Are we getting them, just like you're working with your clients, to make sure they take full advantage of the legitimate deductions?
Right. And it just galls me to no end when somebody will say, you know, well, they'll kind of insinuate they're not going to report all their income, like their cash income. And I just like to point out, you all, that you want to report everything you make. And because that could land you in jail, right? If you don't.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
Yeah, it could. But if you take a tax write-off that is somehow questioned, and the chances of that are rather slim anyway, if you keep great records and you keep everything consistent from year to year and you have the same professional tax preparer, you know, usually you're not going to be audited if you're really careful and diligent and have a preparer do this too. You pay a hired, great small business tax specialist. But you just want to make sure that you've got you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, but you're not going to go to jail for a tax deduction that they question. The worst that could happen is they would question it. But
if it's not legit, then fine. But if it's legit, you're good to go.
Right. And if it's not, you're just going to pay the fine, right? That's all. But you're not going to go to jail. Okay. That reminds me, last night I was watching Saturday Night Live. Okay. So here's an aside, Janet. Years ago, I met Willem Dafoe, who starred in Platoon and so many other things, The Lighthouse. And it was in London. I was studying in London. And a bunch of us had gone to a theater event, and we met him afterwards. And we actually invited him over for Thanksgiving Day with these American students, and we cooked spaghetti for him. But I was watching Willem Dafoe on Saturday Night Live last night.
Uh-huh.
He has a very funny skit about nice jail. It
There you
doesn't
go.
count, but it's nice jail. Well, let me just say that if you don't report all your income, I don't think you're going to nice jail.
No, not at all. No. We want to keep good records. And plus, how do you make good business decisions without good records?
Yes,
You
exactly.
don't know how well you're doing if you're not keeping these records. And
Right.
if you know what you're doing, you're going to throw darts at a dartboard that's behind you.
And then you get blindsided.
Mm-hmm.
You get
Absolutely.
blindsided because something comes up, the kid needs braces, or your work truck stalls out and the engine is gone, right? And you get blindsided, and that's the thing that you don't want to happen. So it's just really
Exactly.
essential that you keep those great records, you know your tax categories, and you keep every single business expense that you can. Now, I want to mention something else, and that is, sometimes people think, well, I have to have a business credit card. All right. Well, I don't believe in credit cards unless you pay them off in
Okay.
full. All right. So
I'm going to say
actually, I tell my
dedicated
folks,
credit card is the word I use. A dedicated credit. If you're going to use credit,
exactly,
it needs to be a dedicated one.
you can get one that you've put the balance on and that's all you've got, right? Or,
Yes.
you have 5,000 on that card, you have a balance on there of that. There are cards you can get like that. They actually help build your credit. But you can also just move things over. So if you know, oh, I just spent $1,300 on my shopping cart, well, you can just move that amount over into savings so that when the credit card bill comes, you pay it. All right. So that is the secret there, is you don't carry a balance over.
No.
Because credit cards have huge high rates, especially if your credit score is not good.
Even if it's good, it's in the 20s.
Yeah, well, sometimes. I mean, they will give you offers, and you can get some that are like 15.99, etc. A lot of people don't know that you can actually, if you do have a balance on a credit card, you can actually, now this takes a lot of grit and a lot of tenacity, but you can actually call and you can negotiate that down. You can negotiate, many times you can negotiate your interest rate down, but you need to have a good negotiator. And I've actually helped some of my clients do this. To negotiate it down. I've told them what to say, how to say it, what to ask for. And they've been able to bring things down that were in the 20s down to 1%.
Huge difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hundreds of dollars.
That's hundreds. And in their case, it was thousands of dollars at stake. They had huge amounts of credit run up. But my point actually also with credit cards is they don't absolutely have to be business cards. Again,
no, they have to be dedicated card though. They do need to be dedicated.
A personal card, but you only use it for business. And look for a cash reward card. Look for a cash reward card, because you'll be getting cash back. So, for example, I have one that gives me 3% on all online purchases, which I use for a lot of the professional development that I do. And I have had thousands of dollars come back from that. I also use one that is 2% for all categories. So you need to find out what are the categories that you get cash back on. Sometimes you have to choose one, but 2% is great. Think about that as a rebate. And especially when you're putting large items on there and then you're paying them off, but you're putting large items on there, you can consider that like, oh, I just got 3% back on that. Nice.
You paid for a business trip.
$1,000 is $30, right? And that adds up.
It does. I've actually paid for business trips by saving my quote unquote cash back.
Right.
My travel's paid for.
Love it.
I know it's
look for cards that have amazing bonuses. I also believe in the cards because I do a lot of travel. And I think I have over $225,000 American airline miles right now. I mean, just from travel I've done.
There's your trips.
Yeah, those are a lot. That's a lot of trips. That is a lot of trips, at least like 6 or 7 trips, depending on where I'm
that's
going.
what we're saying, and that's what we're encouraging folks, is there's ways that you can avoid some of these drains by being smart. So you've given some great points. Is there a couple other ones we want as we're wrapping up here? Because believe it or not,
there's so much I can say. There's so much I can say, Janet. Is it okay?
I know we could go on for another 3-4 hours, but
no, more than that. I have books on this, right?
Right.
Yeah. Is it okay for me to tell them about my books really quickly? Because we're never going to be able to cover all this, you know? but we've given them a lot already. And I'll just say one more before I tell very quickly about my books. And I will, I'll actually give people, how about I give them a little, I didn't think about this beforehand, but I'll give them a little code they could use to get the ebook version. How's that?
Awesome.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
They gotta go. They gotta
They
just
can get the
drop
ebook
it
and have
in
it immediately. All right. So you really want to master negotiation skills in business, not only because it's going to earn you more money, but it's also going to save you more money. So those ongoing expenses that you have, you want to negotiate. So instead of buying 1 year of your hosting, ask them what it would be to have 3 years. And you usually can get what you're spending down to about a third of what it would be if you did a month-to-month contract. All right. So that's an example of how you can greatly reduce what's going out the door, what's draining out into the, down the toilet, basically. You can reduce that by mastering negotiation skills and by also asking, asking. Hey, I've been a customer here during COVID. There's something I spend a lot of money on. And I called them and I said, COVID's going on and I'd like to have a discount this year. I've been your loyal person, your loyal client for 15 years. And I would like to be returned to what I was paying 2 years ago. And they did it. I immediately saved $300 and it took me 15 minutes to make the phone call. Totally worth it. Then you have that $300 to allocate somewhere else in your business. All right. So my books are back here. I'll show you. Get out of debt. Get on with your life. Woo! Here's the Vanna part. And there's a large book, which is all about the consciousness changes that you need to have for prosperity. Because, we can't just change our strategies. You're never going to keep those strategies going unless you have the mindset for abundance. So that's this one, which has a fun cover. I wish that were me, but it's not. A woman riding.
When did you start riding motorcycle?
Yeah, I wish she's nice and slender. That would be cool too. And then that's the mindset piece. And they're actually coaching things that you do at the end of each of the chapters. And the chapters are short and
they're easy. They're digestible in segments.
Yeah, it's like
I have the book. Yes, so that's one of the things that was one of the first things we had gotten. And you have the other one, 50 ways.
Yeah, this is 50 ways to prosper right now. And this gives you ways that, for example, one of your biggest expenses ever in life is your mortgage. And this gives you a way that you can quickly pay off your mortgage in half or less the time. Instead of 30 years, pay it off in 11 years. That's what I did with my first mortgage. And then there's also an audio CD, which is how to the top 3 secrets to prospering the life of your dreams. And that has a visualization on it. So you can listen to that over and over again. So this is available on my website, the ebook version. I need to get a new printer because I'm almost out.
I'm going to type it in the chat. So go ahead. I'm going to see if I can.
And the code, let's see, hold on, because, I didn't think about this ahead of time. So let me make sure I get the code right so that people can actually.
And what's your website while you're looking that up?
Website is spirited-solutions.com. www.spirited, SPIRITED, and then it's a dash, not an underscore, solutions.com.
I could type it.
That's an S.
There we go.
Okay.
QQ. I'm having one of those days. Okay.
All right. So the code that they can use at this point, and I do change them periodically. So if somebody's gonna do it, they need to do it now. Get it. Get the book. Save money. I have a guarantee on it that if you implement and you don't actually get way more than what you invest in it back, you can have your money back, but you have to implement. Nobody's ever used it, by the way.
I was going to say, as long as you implement, you're going to get it back easy. I know that.
Yeah, nobody's ever used it, but I just like to offer that. But the key is you have to implement, like just with anything. So the code you can use right now is GOOD, good, for get out of debt. And the 10, the number 10.
GOOD 10. And is it all capped or does it matter?
It's uppercase good and then 10, all together with no spaces.
Got it.
All right.
It's out there, guys.
Yeah, they
Take
can find it on
advantage
the
of it.
website. They can just look under, look under books and they'll find it right there. And that's just for the ebook version. But the cool thing about that is everything, including the visualization, the CD, everything will be electronically sent to you immediately. So you'll have it all and you can enjoy it over and over again. So I'd love for y'all to get those things. And I just want to say as we conclude today,
Mhm.
don't go it alone. I have been talking
No,
about the lone wolf syndrome in business. Don't go it alone. Get your
get your
person to
support.
set things up right, i.e., Janet, to give you systems and show you how to maintain them. Get your business coach and a mastermind that actually is going to give you ongoing training,
Mhm.
coaching, community, and accountability. Get your tax preparer and all your other team. We won't talk about right now, but those are the three most important for our topic today of the money mistakes you're making. Just stop.
I was yelling at the dog to stop too because I heard him digging on something. So
Stop.
he fit in there good. I'm like, stop it.
Mine are in the backyard, so they couldn't eat any more furniture while we're talking, Janet.
Yeah, well, yeah, unfortunately that wasn't the case for mine, but that's okay. They were doing good up until those last couple of seconds, and all of a sudden I'm like, what are you doing? I can
Next time
do
you come over, I'm going to tell you to bring your own cushion
it.
and be like,
There you go. I'm going to
bring your
bring
own chair.
Winston, and we're going to let those guys wear each other out.
Oh, yes,
Winston's for it.
yes. Well, one of mine drew blood on the other's ear the other day. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yo, stop that stuff. Oh my God.
Oh, it's
Such
entertainment.
a
That's a whole
bully.
nother conversation in my
So
world.
everybody, just please implement what we talked about. You've got time still because it's just February
It's
and
starting
you've
to
got time to get these things in order
place.
for this year, for sure, because
Yes,
we're just starting
2022 is here.
2022.
Start it
And
off.
you've also got time with your taxes.
Mhm. Exactly. Do it now. Don't wait.
Yes.
Do it now. Get that coach in place. Get someone that can, because a lot of times, and I'm always going to share, and I'm just going to throw this one little piece out there. The reason we encourage it, it's so much easier for me to look and say, okay, I'm not emotionally attached to your money. So
Right.
you can take the emotion completely out of it because I don't have any.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a huge difference. And that's exactly what the business coach, or exactly what, and there's no judgment. We just got to fix something, but it's
No,
easier
there's
for me to
no
look
judgment at all. But you know what I've
at
found,
it.
Janet, and I'm sure you have too, is
Mhm.
people are beating themselves up.
Oh, absolutely. All the
They are
time.
beating themselves up about, oh, I'm not making what I want to make in my business, or oh, I don't know what my numbers are, or oh, I don't know how to negotiate. They're beating themselves up, but I just want to say to you all, yeah,
Don't.
Janet doesn't have judgment. I don't either.
We just want to help.
Like I told you, I was there. Like I tried to do it on my own. It did not work.
It
And
doesn't work.
that's why you shouldn't do that to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. Don't make yourself feel bad. Just get an expert and it will always, it's a tax write-off too.
Yep.
Yeah. And
It
it will
is.
always more than pay for itself. Plus
Oh,
you'll have your stress brought down.
yeah. And you'll know
Yeah.
your numbers. You'll be able to move forward. And I want you to take
Yes.
advantage. Barnsley has great resources out there. It's one of the first things that when we connected, I had gotten. It might have been the
Well,
older
you
version.
got the work package.
I do have the package. Yes, I do. And so it was great thoughts, things that you just don't necessarily think about that are everyday things.
Right.
And
You're
that's
already spending money on
you're
them.
already doing it.
Yeah.
So
So
let's
how
just
about reduce it?
yeah,
Yeah.
work
And keep
smarter, not harder.
hold on to more of what you're making.
Exactly.
Because
Get your profits.
you don't just have to earn more, you have to hold on to more of
Mhm.
what you earn.
Yeah. And you got to track it to be able to know what that is. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much for joining. It's been so much fun, and we're carrying on and having a great time about it because this is a tough subject some days. And
It
it's
is.
and we want you guys to we want to inspire and ignite the possibilities. There are so many out there. And thank you guys for joining us. We look forward to those that come up on the replay as well. Throw your comments out there and take advantage of Barnsley's gift. She's offering it. Take it. Take it. Take full advantage of it and have an opportunity to figure out what you can do a little differently.
Oh,
And move.
Janet, there's a free ebook too, but the free ebook isn't the money one.
Okay, well,
You
that's
can
okay.
get that at the
All right,
website.
guys. Go out to her website. It's in the chat. It is www.spirited-solutions.com. I do have it out in the chat. You have your code, GOOD10. Take full advantage of it. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Barnsley, thank you so much for joining me and being part of this journey with me. And I look forward to continuing as we keep moving forward in 2022. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And it is, after all, your time to excel. And Winston agrees. Have a good one, everyone.